Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the High Ticket Coaching and Consultant Strategy and Growth Show. Now, if you're watching this interview anywhere else but within our private Facebook community called High Ticket Client Attraction Insider Circle, definitely come check us out. We'd definitely love to have you. Now, today I want to introduce you to one of the members of our community, Joe Perruzza. Welcome, Joe.
Hi there. Thank you very much for asking me to be on here today.
Awesome. You're welcome. So tell us, what is that you do?
Okay, so I deliver mental health training to corporate businesses to support their mental health strategies and well-being of their staff.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What got you into this type of work?
Okay, so my background was actually in mental health nursing. So I'm from the UK, for listeners that aren't from the UK. I used to work in the NHS, the National Health Service, for 25 years in mental health, different areas of mental health. And I was a senior manager and I suffered really bad burnout because I was absolutely exhausted from the type of work that I had to do. But from that burnout, I discovered that actually that wasn't the right place for me to be doing my best and delivering my best self to the staff. So I decided to leave. And on leaving, I trained as a coach with John Maxwell. So I don't know if a few people might be familiar with John Maxwell, and realized that I'd been doing coaching a long time, but actually not calling it coaching because it just wasn't something that I had the opportunity to do with staff. So then I started looking into what happens for workforce in the UK when they reach burnout and when they become unwell. How are staff managed without going down a disciplinary route or without having to take time off sick? Because we do know that sickness is really high over here in the UK with mental health related issues. So then once I'd started looking into that and realizing there was a gap to support people in work, I then offered my business out to organizations. So I've been working with some quite big organizations, delivering mental health training to the staff group, but also coaching them in the workplace. So hopefully helping their sickness levels to reduce and staff are happier and their well-being and they're being more productive whilst they're at work.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So what's your in terms of mental health, how do you define mental health?
We all have mental health, but just sometimes, like anything, we have good days and we have really bad days, but it's the persistence of the bad days that can take us over into a mental ill health, which may then lead to a mental health condition, which would be diagnosed by a psychiatrist. But we all have mental health, and it's how we manage our mental health to keep us productive, to keep us happier, to keep us looking after our own self and our own self-care that is really, really important. Because in the UK, 1 in 4 adults will experience a mental health issue in any 12 months, in a period of 12 months.
Mm-hmm. Now, the question now becomes, how does someone manage their mental health?
How does somebody manage their mental health?
Mm-hmm.
I guess it's about, for most people, it'll be about acknowledging that they may have a mental health issue that's a concern to them. But if it's somebody that is just wanting to improve their own sense of wellness and well-being, I mean, there are so many things that people can do now that are much more readily available and accessible, which is great because actually mental health is now being more spoken about openly. And as years ago, there was a lot of shame attached to mental health and mental ill health, and people were kind of hiding it from employees, were taking a lot of time off sick with mental health, but saying that they had a physical health problem rather than being really truthfully honest about their mental health condition, or just the fact that they felt unhappy at work and they weren't sure what was causing that. So things that people can do to look after their mental health can be anything from, meditation, Routines are really, really important. Finding a routine that works for you. Exercise is crucial because there's a real close link with our mental health and our physical health. You know, the two work hand in hand. So the more people are actually moving and exercising and getting out in the fresh air and looking at things from a different perspective, it really does help mental health.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Now, what about with your, let's say with your business now, making a shift, right? So from corporate to actually starting your own business, was it a pretty difficult shift for you, or was it pretty seamless?
No, it was quite, for me, it was a real challenge because I'd been used to working in lots of teams. I'd always worked in a team from when I first started my nursing career. So I'd never been without somebody else to work with or to talk to or to just, discuss decision making, really, because decision making is crucial in life, isn't it? So I really miss that contact with people. So for me, that was a real big challenge because I found myself making all these decisions by myself and not having anyone really to say, no, don't do that. That's a really terrible thing to do. Or actually, that's a brilliant idea. Do that. So for me, it took a while to kind of really begin to enjoy working for myself, because in the first few months I didn't enjoy it at all because I really didn't know what I was doing, if I'm really honest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a real challenge.
Yeah, awesome. Love that you took the leap, though. I think that we all have some type of way we can change the world, right? But a lot of individuals, they continue doing what they maybe don't enjoy and all these different things, knowing that there's some way inside them that they could see how they could make the world a better place. And I love the fact that you were bold enough to say, you know what, I'm gonna take this path. I'm gonna go down this route and build a
Yeah,
business and help individuals solve this challenge that you see is a big issue, right?
it is a big issue. And I also think, and I genuinely believe that people shouldn't be going into work in emotional pain and being genuinely unhappy with what they're, and that might be because they're unhappy at home, or it might be because they're unhappy at work, or, for some people, it's a combination of both. But for me, there is help there for people that feel that emotional pain of being either in the wrong job, not being valued in the workplace, perhaps because we know that being valued in the workplace is really important, but also really crucial and helpful to increase people's productivity and be a really good employee to somebody,
Mm-hmm.
But people are going into work not happy, not fulfilled, and maybe some people are going into work thinking, there's more in me, but I'm not ready to take that leap yet. So I guess sometimes that's where I go in and will coach somebody, and it's interesting what really comes out, because they love the job, but maybe they want to get to the next level in their job, but they don't know how to do it. They just
Mm-hmm.
don't feel, females, with imposter syndrome, they might feel that they're not quite ready, or they're not quite good enough, or another candidate might be better than them. So it's just really exploring the whole of that. Or they might come to the decision, actually, I've been here 10 years now, maybe it is time for me to move on, but these are the really good things and the skills that I can take with me because they're transferable.
Mm-hmm. Now, what types of clients you said as your main client, the organizations, or do you typically work with individuals as well?
My main client at the moment has been organisations. I mean, I was face to face until COVID-19 happened.
Mm-hmm.
So now everything's kind of gone online. I've been delivering webinars online to organisations because that's obviously the only way that I can reach people right now, or for the last kind of 6 to 8 weeks anyway. But prior to that, I was actually going in to we have an organisation in the UK called the Department of Work and Pensions.
Mm-hmm.
So they're a government organisation, and I was delivering mental health training to their staff, who then work with the general public. So
Mm-hmm.
really giving them the right skills to learn to understand the behaviour of why people might react in the way that they react when they're struggling with their own mental health, or they're grieving in a loss, or they're just angry about not being able to access a particular part of their department. So, a lot of it is around communication, but it's understanding that we all have those different types of behaviours in life, but how to respond to those behaviours is really key when you're at the other end of a person on the telephone, or it might be somebody that you're face to face with.
Mm-hmm. Love it, love it. Awesome. So in essence, when it comes to as far as with your clients, right? So what do you find is the biggest, a few common mistakes that they make as they're on their journey?
With clients,
Mm-hmm.
I think with the coaching clients, if I take those to start with, I think it's maybe just hiding behind their own limitations and listening to and talking themselves out of what they're capable of, or perhaps listening to other people that don't want them to succeed.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's a really common thread of clients that I've started to see recently on a one-to-one basis, who, you know, they have a purpose, they have a passion, they just don't know how to, what's the next move? And then they'll start to listen to other people, and then they'll be kind of, oh, well, you know, it's not the right time now because I don't have money, or I've got nothing to go to. So when I share my story of, I didn't have anything to go to either, but I felt that I couldn't stay in the situation I was in any longer. If you look at it like a toxic relationship or a bad relationship, somebody has to make a decision to leave.
Right. Awesome. Now, with you said also, I know you mentioned COVID-19 as well too, because you said before you were face to face. How do you enjoy?
Yeah.
Are you enjoying being virtual?
I actually really like it. And
Yeah.
I was actually quite surprised because I didn't have a clue about technology before COVID. I mean, I did have a clue, but I wasn't using it in the same way that I'm using it now. So I'm actually quite enjoying it. I feel more confident on Zoom. You know, I've kind of started to host a lot more meetings because I've had to. It's like anything. If you have to do something, you're going to do it. You know,
Right.
if I've got a target audience that I need to reach, if I've got something that I think is really important to help other people, I'm not going to sit back just because I can't use technology. You know, I've got 3 children and they're way better than me on technology. So they've helped me a lot with lots of things that I wouldn't even dare to tell you the things I was doing wrong on here, but they've helped me an awful lot.
Yeah.
You know, I've been the embarrassing parent on many an occasion over the last 8 weeks.
Yeah. Well, we all got to start somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was telling a friend of mine doing these interviews. Because I started about maybe 3 weeks ago, and I was
Okay.
drinking water, and I just spilled the water all over me, and we were like live. Yeah, so it definitely happens. What about your clients? Are you working with clients just locally, or are your clients global?
Mainly UK based, but kind of nationally rather than globally at the moment. So kind of, I suppose that the thing with the technology, it's allowed me to branch out and reach people in other areas of the UK as well, because even though I was doing quite a bit of traveling before and going into business, it was more kind of, I'm in the north of England, so it's based around the north of England more so than actually nationally. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it has helped that.
Yeah, awesome. So in on your journey, what would you say is one skill you've mastered that's allowed you to achieve your level of success today?
Um, one skill. I
Mm-hmm.
just think it's um, uh, being really open to people and going in with warmth and knowing that everybody's got a journey and everybody's got a story, and we're all in different places at that time, and just be kind to people.
Mm-hmm. Awesome, awesome. What about are you a pretty big how do you get information? Are you a big reader, podcaster? Do you
Um,
audiobooks?
yeah, I mean, I like all three actually. I think I've listened to more podcasts on my walks during COVID, and maybe at least listen to them on the train a little bit. Um, Books, audio, probably more than actually reading books.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like to listen. I think I'm a bit more of a listener than a reader.
Yeah. So what's based on maybe a book or something you listen to? What's one great piece of advice you could share with the audience just based on just something that comes to mind?
Okay, so I suppose my most recent book was Failing Forward, which is a John Maxwell book.
Mm-hmm.
And really, we all have to fail to move forward.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
Is
felons
that
move
it?
forwards.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, you know, and not to be frightened of failing, because actually, you know, it's there we learn and grow,
Mm-hmm.
and that we actually, you know, as long as you're learning from the failing or the mistake and try and not repeating it over and over again. But if it's like anything, if you're repeating it over and over again, you know, it's going to come back until you stop doing it.
Yeah, yeah. That's
Yeah.
so
So,
powerful as well too,
yeah.
right? Yeah.
Excuse me.
As yeah, as far as because that's really what success is. It's
Mm,
ultimately being able to, because with most success, it's things we haven't done before, right? So we're like here
mm,
today, and we're like, okay, this is where I want to get to. But the only way we have to get to, or we can get to there, is really we got to fail, right? Because most of what we need to do, we have no idea what it is, and it's relatively new to us. So best way, as you
absolutely.
said, fail forwards.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. What about habits? What's one habit you've kind of you do practically that you think is has been responsible for your success?
Um, I think for me, it's definitely exercise. So
Hmm.
what I didn't tell you was that I competed as a professional bodybuilder.
Hmm.
So that discipline of getting me to the stage has helped me a lot, because I've transferred that discipline into business.
Hmm. Oh, good. You used to be a bodybuilder. That's awesome. What's
Mm.
how long were you? How did you get started?
I got started because I was, you know, at that point in my life where I thought, what am I doing with for me? You know, I had a great career, had my family. Those things were going really, really well at that time. But what I found was I wasn't actually doing anything for myself. It was always for other people, in, you know, helping people at work, giving a lot there, coming home. Obviously, naturally, as a parent, you put your family before yourself. And I was beginning to think, I'm losing myself. I'm not being authentic and truthful to the things that I want to do. So I kind of chose something that I thought was a big challenge, and it was a bigger challenge than what I ever anticipated. But hey, you know, you grow through what you go through, don't you, really? And but with that, what I did discover about myself, that I'm really disciplined when I have to be. I'm not if I don't have to be, obviously, but when I have to be, I'm really, really disciplined. And that morning routine I've carried on forever. You know,
Hmm.
the getting up, the going for a walk. I've brought other things into it, you know, prayer, meditation. I do some journaling. All of those things now I've adapted into my everyday life.
Hmm.
And
Awesome.
I think those things really, really help me be productive.
Yeah. So you said so when you got into bodybuilding, did you work out before, or was it just like
Yeah, I
normal?
did work out before. I just didn't pick up a weight, and it happened. I worked out and when I was younger, I was a competitive swimmer. So I've always been into fitness and healthy and exercise and training. But I just had got to that point. I was 45, and I thought, I need to, you know, not be just kind of slippery on this slippery slope of not doing anything. There's still, you know, for me, age was just a number. I wasn't allowing it to put a limit on what I couldn't do. And so I just trained, got myself a coach, and yeah, did really well and loved it. And I've done it for the last 7 years.
Hmm. That is awesome. Love it. So what is next for you based on where you're headed with your company, with your business? What do you see as your next phase?
For me, it's really just about getting into more bigger organizations now, and really helping them with their staff, their productivity, helping them to save money, because obviously staff sickness costs billions of pounds in the UK, and really for staff to feel happier in the workplace, and helping them make decisions that are going to fulfill their life as well.
Hmm. Awesome. So now, if someone want to reach out to you, what's the best way for them to connect?
At the moment, my website's actually just being rebranded, because I've just changed my business name to Working With You in Mind. Um, it would be on my email at the moment, which is joeperruzza90@gmail.com. And people can
Awesome.
reach out to me there, and I can, you know, send them information. Happy to do the hours complimentary webinar that I've been running for a lot of businesses over the past few weeks.
Mhm.
And yes, and happy to have a discussion and help anybody.
Yeah, awesome. And guys, so the links that Joe mentioned as far as the contact information, they will either be right above or below this video. So you'll be able to click right through and get connected right to her. Okay, awesome. Now, what about resources? Do you have any resources? I know you mentioned a webinar. What's that webinar about?
The webinar about is mental health in challenging times. So it's been specifically designed around organisations for COVID-19. And we look at some of the challenges that that business might have, or they're telling us that they have. And we work around what will help them and their staff in the hours webinar.
Mm-hmm.
So it covers stress and anxiety. It'll cover any particular challenge. So that might be around conflict, having a difficult conversation, or it might be around some that they have perhaps members of staff they're particularly concerned about, working remotely or working from home in an environment that might not be conducive to their particular job role.
Okay, awesome.
And we also look at helping organisations returning staff into the workplace, because over here now people are coming back into work and there's a lot of fear and anxiety around what that's going to look like. And then obviously in some organisations they're having to make redundancies, so all of these will have an impact on someone's well-being and mental health. And also the managers and the leaders as well, you know, helping the leaders to lead authentically and efficiently during a really challenging time, because nobody's had to do this before. It's new to everybody, but we know that, you know, in mental health the basic skills are the basic skills regardless of what the event is.
Mm-hmm. Awesome, love it. Well, hey Joe, we're short on time here, but it was definitely a pleasure having you here
Thank
today.
you. Yeah, it's been
Really
great.
appreciate it. Yeah. Do you have any final thoughts before we end?
I think if anyone's really concerned about their own mental health and well-being, it's really important to try and reach out and let somebody know that you trust.
Mm-hmm. Awesome, love it, love it. Well, again, hey, thank you again, and we'll
Thank you
talk
very
soon,
much.
okay?
Thanks for your time.